Nestor, BBC Radio London.
Morning, or is it morning? No, afternoon to you. It's BBC Radio London, Thursday the 2nd of November. Hopefully all is well in your world. That's fun, isn't it? It's a forerunner of what we've got to come a couple of times next year. Of course, the mayoral elections will be taking place in May, and we'll also have probably, although not certainly, we have elections, don't we, coming up for a new political party to run the country. We've just taken a look into what's been happening in Hackney. I've been told by management I must play a song now. So what I'm going to do is play a bit of audio about what we just talked about. I'm going to talk to Claire, and then I'm going to talk to Susanna. God, I'm going to get in trouble again, aren't I? Really interesting. I thought that was really good. Helen was on. Helen, Ben and Katerina talking about the issues that they think are big. Because, look, we've got 5 elected mayors in London. Please don't ask me. Okay, right. So we've got 5 elected mayors. Lewisham, Newham, Tower Hamlets, Hackney and one other. Susanna will tell me. But we've got 5. And Philip Glanville's gone, he's left the party, and there is an opening. There was just an election last year, and there's going to be another one now. And we want to find out what the big issues are in Hackney and whether those issues translate to big issues across the whole of London. So Ben was talking to us about, actually, why would you put charging points for motorbikes when you want people to get on motorbikes, bikes, and the like? Helen was saying, well, I know we've got fewer school children in primary schools, but don't just shut them and have a consultative process. Talk to us as parents, because it's a big thing when you close the local school, and particularly when it means that you can't just open another one up. It then feels like there's a conspiracy. And Katerina, and I agree, lots of you will agree with Katerina about what's happening with LTNs, and actually you're making the place worse and not better. So if you'd like to feed in, wherever you come from in London, I'd love to hear from you. Claire?
Yes.
How are you?
I'm okay, fine, thank you.
What did you think? You live in Hackney, do you?
I do indeed live in Hackney, and I am another LTN victim in that I live on an A road that has had so much more traffic since the LTNs have come on. What's interesting about this area is Hackney Central as well, where somebody else said they live, I think that was Helen, is that we also have 2 schools and 2 nurseries on the road. And the traffic idling outside of those schools is disgusting. It's absolutely horrific to watch those children coming up. And for me, it's really important because when I looked at the LTNs and where they were placed, it looked very much like a class and to some extent a race issue, in that many of the roads that were closed were, let's say, the more affluent white areas. And the road, like my road, Dalston Lane, that has mainly social housing, and you start looking at who lives in those houses and who goes to those schools. And if you stand out outside of Mossbourne Parkside Academy, as it's called, a misnomer, and you look at the children coming up, there's a big difference between those children and the children at William Tyndale on a B road, I believe it is, Stoke Newington Church Street, which got closed for the good of the children.
But help me to. Sorry, I'll let you ask the question, but I've got another question for you when you finish that question.
Yeah, so my question is why, is this easy fix that we know isn't an easy fix, because there's been no proof that it actually decreases pollution. And I must say that I'm just finishing my DEFRA training as an air champion for Hackney, so I sort of know what I'm talking about. It's not improving the air quality, and it's certainly not improving it where people walk and where they shop. Kingston Road, Amherst Road down by Mare Street, these places where the children are walking, coming home from schools, where we're waiting for buses, where we're shopping. But mainly ethnic minority, BAME, whatever we want to say, or by working class people are mainly the ones using those roads. And for me, that is the biggest issue. As a working class woman with an education, I didn't need to throw that in, but just saying I have looked at the statistics. I have a little bit of a background in sort of data analysis, and I've started looking at these things. And you know what? It's not helping. It is so not healthy. And it's harming
let me
the
ask you a
most
question.
vulnerable.
Ask you a question, and I will put that point to the candidates on your behalf. And it is a point that's been made several times that actually, either by intent or by accident, the people who are not benefiting from these low traffic neighbourhoods, the people who live on the main roads, which have an increased number of vehicles which aren't moving particularly quickly. So why is it that, as a Conservative idea, it has been embraced most enthusiastically by Labour councils?
Right.
Is it your idea that they know this and they're doing it, or it's a consequence of them doing it?
Okay, there's a couple of points here in that the money was made available during COVID to improve walking and cycling. The Conservative central government did not, I repeat, did not say this must be used for LTNs. They left it open. I have spoken to a number of councillors, and by the way, I am a former Labour Party member who has resigned over this, in that, okay, these were already in the plans. There's been something which I term entryism by groups like the London Cycling Campaign, who have so influenced policy, and that includes influencing Mayor Glanville, who I did know personally. I haven't seen on a private basis for a couple of years now, but is that the influence that this is a solution. This is a solution for an elite white male group generally, predominantly, who cycle through, okay? It's about cycling through. And this idea that we got this great increase within these LTN areas, and where somebody called them single doorbell areas or something. On the main roads, we have houses of multiple occupation. We have a lot of flats in one building. We have council estates, whatever. We have a much higher proportion of, sort of residents living on these main roads. Not overall, but they're on there, and they're poisoning us. They are poisoning us and our children.
Well, leave it there, because I know there are people, as passionately as you are against them, there are people who are passionately for them. And the reason I haven't challenged you is I want people who may be upset by the way that it's been articulated. White middle-class men poisoning. It might be hyperbole so far as you're concerned, but it's your job to put your argument. Yes? 0800 731 2000. We're in Hackney.